Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Leibella Ralston. I'm also known as Mommy Lay on the internet. I was reading all your comments while we were waiting. Thank you so much, Carrie. It's another beautiful Wednesday afternoon here with Faber-Castell and Michael Stores. I'm so excited because today is going to be really exciting. I'm excited because it's exciting. It's exciting because we're going to be working with watercolors and, of course, hand lettering. Specifically, we're going to do some brush lettering today. We have done many different brush lettering classes. If you need a little bit of catch up, or if you're a beginner, a much a beginner, we have recent classes that are uploaded on Michael's YouTube channel that you can go ahead and watch, and then catch up with us. All right. So today we'll be working with watercolor, like what I said. So I have some watercolor papers in here, and then we are going to be working with the Albrecht Durer um, watercolor markers. These are watercolor in a marker form like this. So it's super fun. And this one has a dual tip. It has a brush tip on the other end. And then you have I believe it's a 2 millimeter or a 2.5 millimeter on the other end. So you have a bullet tip like this. And then you have the brush pen. Now, both has really great usage, but I am such brush girl that I don't think I use a whole lot of the bullet tip on this marker. I do in some specific type of lettering, but most of the time I just use the brush. Okay, so we're going to be creating a beautiful quote. It's the fall season. I have been enjoying this beautiful weather. I live here in Texas, so it was so hot during the summer. So a little bit of this cold, oh, it's beautiful. But you know what? I think weather is kind of like life. We go through changes, and so we have to appreciate every season of life. And so we're now experiencing some cool weather, and I am just all for it. So watercolor means watercolor paper, and then we're gonna need some water, of course, over here. And then I have a water brush. Now, if you don't have a water brush, it's okay. You can definitely use, what do you call this, some regular watercolor brushes that you have in there. A round brush um, probably is my choice. But if you have a flat one, that's fine too, because we're just going to do a whole lot of blending. We're not going to be using the water brush to letter anything. So if you have a flat brush, that's fine too. It's going to work. Okay, so I'm going to pull out some of your chat just to say hi, say hello to everybody. It's always my favorite. I love it when you guys are able to join me live because we get to chit chat, we get to engage instead of just watching the replay. But yes, it's been super nice here. 37 here. That's a little cold. I feel like my joint is hurting just hearing the 37. So, as you get older, it's like I love the cold weather, but a little too cold is like, okay, I'm gonna take this Texas weather where it's warm and then it gets a little cool and chilly during the winter. High 60 in St. Louis today. That's very beautiful. 66. All right. Okay. So Sarah said I have to use the watercolor markers from Artist Loft. That's going to work as well. Yes, it works very well too. Okay. All right. So pencil, we're going to use some pencil to do some sketching because as always, I always say this to all of my students and, in every class that pencil is your best friend when it comes to art because it means that you're not married to an idea. And at the same time, you can make adjustments and changes. And, so pencil, really good. Now, I usually just use a regular HB pencil, but sometimes the camera is having a hard time picking up the sketch. So I'm going to use a 2B, so which is a slightly darker than the regular HB. And it's even harder to erase. But when you're sketching, try to practice very light sketching because it's going to help you to not have some issues when it comes to erasing your sketches later on. All right, so using pencil for now. Good job, Chrissy. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. So just watercolor markers. If you have just plain watercolors, then use a brush pen, a black brush pen to go to use for our lettering, because basically these big watercolor markers is what we're going to use to color in and draw our pumpkin. And then when we're ready to do our beautiful brush lettering, I am going to be using my Faber-Castell black Pitt artist pen. Now the Pitt artist pen as a brush tip like this, I love it. It's flexible. This one is very light fast, which means light fast is something, it means that your colors, for example, if you're using colors, your artwork will not fade over time when it's exposed to the sun. This one is also waterproof. So when it's dry, it's waterproof. These are water-based India ink. If you do a lot of journaling, bullet journaling, I highly recommend the Pitt Artist pens. They are just fabulous. They're a little pricey, but trust me, it is worth it. Okay, so are we ready? Pitt Artist pens using with a water brush. Okay, the Pitt Artist pens, Mary, if we're going to use the Pitt Artist pens to color it in, you might have to work a little faster, because remember, although they're water-based India ink, they're not going to blend as well as a watercolor marker. So these are, imagine the pigments, right, to create the watercolors. These are pigments inside these markers. So every single time that the water touch these markers, the colors, the pigments on the paper, it will continuously blend. Now, the Pitt Artist pens, on the other hand, they are water-based India ink, but once they're dry, they are going to be permanent. So they're going to be waterproof. They're not going to move. So if you're going to use the Pitt Artist pens to color in our pumpkin, it might have to work a little faster to blend them with water, or just basically just simply just color them in and not worry about blending it with water. Okay, so the technique's going to be different, but the result's going to be just the same, because it's going to be beautiful because you created it. As cheesy as it sounds, I really try to practice that. It's one of those affirmations that I tell myself when I'm working in art, and it's like, you know what, no matter what the results are, it's going to be beautiful because I made it. So that's exactly it. All right, here we go. Pumpkin, very simple. We're going to start with a basic shape, which is an oval, right? So we're going to do a little stretched oval, not a skinny oval, but a stretched oval. Now, I am using a much larger paper. You don't have to make it as big as I am doing now. If you're going to use it for just bullet journal or just practice, maybe don't make it too big, but I am going to choose to make it large just because it's going to be much easier to be picked up by the camera. All right. And then I have the chat pulled out as well here. So if you have any questions during the class, please leave them in the chat section. I'll be able to answer them. All right. Okay. So here we go. We're going to start with an oval, a very wide oval. But again, try to do a really light sketching. Okay. So we don't have to worry about any erasing. And then don't overthink your oval. Just kind of like think of your pumpkin. Just make sure you leave a space on top for your sock, because I don't think I'm leaving enough space in there. And I'm just now catching it. So I'm just reminding you as well at the same time. Sometimes it works that way. All right, here we go. You cannot see this one. This is like impossible to see. See if I can make it not so bright. It's still hard, isn't it? But it's just a stretched oval like that. Hello, Emma. Nice to have you here. Okay, so now it depends on the type of artwork that I'm doing. Usually I would do my pumpkin with a lot of that, folds and cracks. But understanding that I'm going to put a quote in the middle of my pumpkin, I don't really want to have a whole lot of distraction also that would take away from the lettering that we're going to create today. Does that make sense? So I'm probably going to do just 2 folds. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the middle part of this oval with another oval, but really skinny, almost like an oblong, right? So we're just going to start in the middle, put that in the middle of the pumpkin, or like 2 apostrophes, left and right. Think of it that way. I like to think my I like to think that way when I'm doing art. Simple, basic shapes or numbers or letters, the belly of a letter B or a D. I always kind of like use stuff like that because it makes it, I don't know, it just makes it much easier to visualize things. So, to apostrophe, left and right, do that. There we go. So I know that my shape is not perfect yet, but that's the reason why we're doing sketching is because we can adjust things. And that's why I really, really love sketching first. Now, I'm assuming that you're using your pencil and that you also have your eraser. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten the sketch first so that I can do another second adjustment. So basically we're creating, this is our guide. That's like our underpainting. Now we can adjust the size. So we're going to create like a deep well, or think of it as humps. We're going to make three humps, one to the left, one in the middle, and then a little tiny one again on the right. And I'm going to do this so you can see. So I'm going to make the humps more visible, more obvious here, so we can see that. And I'm going to make the center part of my hump a little more pointy because that one feels like flat. So I'm going to adjust it and just make it slightly pointier, just like that. So like a mountain, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same here on my left. And then just like that. So I'm just making it defining more definition. So we're starting to build our pumpkin now. Are those the humps off of the apostrophes? So it's going to be in the middle. So another apostrophe too, right? But upside down, like that. I have three like this, okay? And so I'm going to bring down this side. And what we want to do is we want to mimic that to the bottom. So basically, we're just going to do the same thing that we have on top. The center would be here, like that. I feel like mine is like lap-sided. I feel like mine is like tilting to the right too much. I have to adjust that. Because, guys, when I'm doing the class, basically I'm relying on the screen because I cannot put my head here to really make sure. Oh, I see all my grace. I can't put my head or else you won't be seeing it. So I have it like this. So I'm just looking at the camera also. So based on what I'm seeing at the camera, I feel like mine is such left-sided. I feel like it's tilting to the right too much. So we're going to adjust it. And this is why pencil is like super important because imagine if we have done this with markers already with the Pitt artist pen, then they're going to be waterproof and then it's permanent. Then I'm not going to be happy. All right. Well, I agree. It depends on what kind of pumpkin you really want to draw. If you want to draw more realistic pumpkins have different shapes and sizes, So some are like really bumpy, some are like smooth. It just depends. Now, it's your art, and this is why I think art is so beautiful because it truly is subjective. Now, this is the way I would love to see my pumpkin in this specific artwork. Now, if you don't like this type of pumpkin and you see pumpkin in your head differently than how I'm drawing it, I would go with your guts. Follow your guts. What kind of pumpkin you want to draw it in there, So do as you please. So I'm just here as your guide and I'm teaching how I am really visualizing the pumpkin in my head and how I would like to see this um outcome. Now you can always do it differently. Okay. Here we go. The eraser that I'm using, Laura, this is a kneadable eraser from Faber-Castell. So kind of like a putty. See, it's like super gummy like this. It's not really sticky. It is slightly sticky, but it's not like, ooh, like it's uncomfortable to use. And I love it because the way I would use it sometimes is like I would roll it like this on top of my sketch. And what it does is it does not give me a lot of eraser suds. Now, sometimes those eraser suds are slightly annoying at times because you just gotta keep, wiping it off your desk and your table. And so it's like, ugh. So this one, I love it. It's the gray kneadable eraser from Faber-Castell. And then if you're gonna wonder if this sometimes get hard, I've never had that problem. So, and I don't have it in the plastic anymore in that original packaging that it came with. I just have it on my desk, sitting on my desk right here, and I don't have any issues with it drying or getting hard. All right, I'm gonna embrace the imperfections of my pumpkin because I can't seem to, is it my eyes or my brain that's not working really well today? I'm just gonna do that. Keep it simple. We're just gonna do that. Really, Chris? I'm not sure. You think the humidity here in Texas? Oh man. Did you guys keep it in the plastic? That's really really odd. Maybe the humidity in Texas has something to do with it. Wow, there's something good from the humidity. Because that humidity during summer is like, oh. No, I had mine in my art bag. Oh, that is so odd. Really, really odd. Okay, so now that we have that, so maybe try to kind of like massage it. Did you guys try to kind of like play with it, kind of like a putty, like what I'm doing now? Maybe that will help, like this. Because usually this is like my daughter's job. She plays around with my eraser. She plays with it like a putty, like this. All right, I'm gonna not try to overthink this pumpkin. I'm done. All right, so when you have your pumpkin, like I do, now we're gonna do the stalk. And like what I said, look at me. I don't have enough space in here. All right, so I'm gonna put a middle part like this, just a rectangle. It's a horizontal line. Sue, this is the Faber-Castell kneadable eraser. And then I'm gonna go a slant line from here to here. So like this. Oh, that's a bad time. I just noticed my finger. All right. And then from here to here, like that. And then if you feel like it's too narrow, if you feel like you want it to be a little wider, again, as always, feel free to adjust it. I feel like mine's a little too narrow. And I want to make it more on that chubby side. I'm just going to adjust the same lines that I already created. If you want to make the top much taller, or you know how some pumpkins are, they have like a little twisty thing on the top happening right there. But mine, I'm going to keep it simple because really, I want this to be just the background. Basically, this is the base of my drawing, and I want the lettering to really stand out. So I'm not going to overthink that anymore. I'm going to clean up my sketch. I'm not going to keep the lines in the middle because, again, like what I said, that is where we're going to add our lettering. So I don't want a whole lot of distractions over there, but just a base, a shape where we're going to have our lettering. Now, for the leaves of the pumpkin, I'd love to do like really kind of like whimsical lines like this. You can go like that, a little spiral happening. If you want just a straight line, you can do that as well. Man, I am doing a whole lot of erasing, more than drawing today. Like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but a different one. So just kind of like fancy flourishes like this. I'm going to leave it now. And then you can make your leaves large, small. It's up to you. I kind of like mine to have like almost like wider at the bottom and then it goes. So I'm going to show you in another page just so we can have a sample page. Let's see. I have a scratch page in here. Nope, I don't. Okay, let's try it here. So the way I would do my leaves are just, I always start with the middle part, right? And so I like to go one, right? Two, and then one in the middle, three. And then you can do the same here. One, two, and then you're done, right? Thank you so much, Shiva, for sharing that. I know, Emma, I really love it. And then you can also make it where it's like narrow at the bottom and it goes wide on top. So kind of like one and then two. See, it's kind of like a ladder. Think of it as like a ladder. And then the middle part. So again, much narrow at the bottom. It goes wider, kind of like fans out, kind of like that. So it just depends. Play around, how you would like your leaves to be. Can you imagine? It's already 5:23. I'm gonna go move faster. Here. Now I'm gonna go start adding my leaves on the other side. Like that. Like that. We're just gonna keep it like that. And then I'm gonna go start lightening, erasing the first sketch, and then we're gonna start to color. Now I always work with a heat tool. I have a heat gun because when we're doing the class, sometimes it takes forever. Um, you can do your lettering now, or you can do it later after you color. But I like to kind of play around. Just depends on the day. Sometimes I color it first, and I do my sketching, or sometimes I do my sketching and put that underneath the coloring part. I'm erasing it because really, when we start coloring, I don't necessarily want to see a whole lot of pencil lines. Um, and so it's still here, but it's very, very light, right? So even when we color it, knowing that I'm also not going to color with dark colors, I know that they're not going to be covered really well. So I'm just lightening that first sketch. You don't have to thoroughly erase everything because sometimes it adds texture and character to your drawings, your paintings. It just depends, really. It's personal preference. I really think so. All right, so we can have just one word. You can choose to have one word inside your pumpkin, like grateful, the word blessed. I'm all about positive affirmations. I really love keeping positive quotes and words in my journals. And so I really love writing down positive quotes in here. Now, in the sample picture that I created, it says, always stay grateful. We can keep with always stay grateful, always stay grateful, or just say the word count your blessings. I think I like that. Even though, Thanksgiving's over, who said they stop being thankful when Thanksgiving's over? You can stay really grateful every single day. Always stay in that gratefulness attitude. All right, here we go. So I think count your blessings is what I'm going to choose. Count your blessings. Or always Stay grateful. Now, the way I compose my quotes, I think this is really important. Um, this is actually going to be helpful having a shape in here. It already gave me that guide. I know that my quotes has to stay inside this pumpkin shape in here, no matter how long, no matter how short. If one word, then you know that you're limited inside this pumpkin. Of course, unless that's not what you want. You can always write it outside the pumpkin. That's another style as well. So to do a lettering, I'm going to use my pencil again because this is where I can do my placement. But before I do my sketches, I always kind of visualize it in my head. Anyways, I know I have three words. Let's say always stay grateful. I have the word always, stay, and then grateful. Let's say we that's what we're going to do today. So I know I have always on top and then middle, staying, and grateful. What is the word that I really want to highlight in that in from those three words? The words that I really want to highlight is always and then grateful. So I can have the word always in a brush lettering. I want to keep the word stay as a print in the middle, and then grateful again in a brush script as well. Now, I'm going to grab a notebook so we can practice it in here, right? So the way I want to do it would be always. Another reason why I love using pencil when lettering is that later I don't have to, because when we're doing brush lettering, you have to worry about the pressure. It's all about the pressure, the amount of pressure you use when applying, when using your brush pen. And so if you have to think about position of your letters, composition, and then on top of that, you have to think about the pressure, the amount of pressure you're going to use to create the thin and thick strokes. There's just so much. So when you have your sketch and your position, your composition, you know where it's going to be, check it off your list. Then you don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's much easier to just worry about the thin and the thick, the heavy and the light. Okay. So always, I'm going to write the word grateful because these are the two words that I want to highlight. Now, writing this like this, I know that I have a space in the middle. Now, this is where I want to have the word stay. And what usually helps me a lot is that I write the first letter of the word and then I write the last letter of the word. It helps me with the distance or the spacing in between my letters. So I know that here's my Y, this is my S. So I know that here's my T, and then I'm going to add my A. Does that make sense? It doesn't always work this way sometimes, but most of the time, this is what really helps me to know, um, especially when it's a print and I have a very limited space. I start with the first letter and the last letter in the end, just to know that how much I'm going to space each letter, especially it's a print lettering. So this is how I would want always stay grateful, like that. And then visualize this, how we're going to put it here inside this shape. Okay. So I'm going to do, I always like mine kind of like slightly tilted instead of like a perfect straight on. But again, personal preference. So what I do is I actually intentionally tilt my paper to the left like this, and then I can work on my lettering. It's a little bit too much, just like that. And I'll start with the always. So I'm going to do this really lightly just so I can have, because I know I might have to erase. So we have the first word, always. Thank you, Sue. And then looking at this now, I know it already, that I feel like my A has to be a bit more tilted, but let's stay with that first. And then I'll write the word grateful. Now, you don't have to write this in as a script. If you feel more comfortable doing this in print, that's fine too. I'm gonna change my letter G like this. Ooh, that's too much. And that's why I love pencil. I wonder how many times I'm gonna say that today. Always. I don't like it at all. I feel like the word stay is too little. It's like too small. I'm gonna put it in closer. Oh, I cannot see anything. Like that. So always stay grateful. Don't we have a closed captioning, Carrie?
Yes, if you go, you have to hit the more option if you're on desktop, and there should be a section that says show captions.
All right, Maxine. Maybe we should message that in the chat section just so Maxine could um, read it. All right, so I'm just going to lighten it up again, like the pumpkin, the rest of my pumpkin, but just enough. Always be grateful. Oh, I love that, Laura. Yeah, because I feel like the stay, we're going to try that. I love that. So I'm going to put that in the middle. Instead of stay, always be grateful. Like that. Okay, I know where it's going to be at. All right. Now it's too dark. Yes, I love it. I love it. Antoinette said, I just went with blessed. Yes. No, you do not. It just needs a little practice. Okay. So for our pumpkin, I'm going to use two colors in here first. I'm going to start with Scarlet Red, and also I have cadmium yellow. Now, if you have just an orange and a yellow, that works great. I'm going to be using also maybe the Indian red later on. I don't think I added this in the list, but it's just a darker, warm color. It's almost like it's not really burgundy. It's an Indian red color. What can I say? So like this color. So I'm gonna go swatch the other colors just so you can see, so you can get for your reference. So we have this orange, like a deep orange too, but that's scarlet red. And then we have the cadmium yellow. Oh no, I need more yellow. Just like that. Right? Oh no, I need yellow. Here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the scarlet red. And the way I'm going to do this is that it's almost like the line art. So I'm going to go around that sketch that we created earlier. So I'm going to go around it. Following that shape that we created earlier. Just like that. That, and then I am going to add more colors, more pigment at the bottom. Now, if you're using just a plain watercolor, you want to do this also. You want to have your darker shade concentrated at the bottom, like this. Just like that. Now, this is what I want to share with you guys if you're going to be using a different brand. Um, now, not every watercolor markers or water-based markers are going to be the same. They're actually very different. Depends on the brand. What happens is that some watercolor, I need more cadmium yellow. I don't have it. I'm going to use a dark chrome yellow. That should work also. I don't have any more cadmium. So where was I? Not all water-based markers are created equal. You know, some markers will stain the paper, so you might not get the same result as I will have. I'm going to use a flat brush just so you can see, because I am using a very large space in here. Some will leave stains and some colors as well. So it's not just always the brand. Sometimes it's the pigment, it's the formulation of that pigment that was used. So if you are going to have the same issue, if you will experience the same issue today, I highly suggest you, getting a smooth surface, like a plastic wrapper, a Ziploc, you know, if you have a silicone mat or if you have an artist palette, that works. So we can work on that. And then you can pick up some of the colors of the markers from there. So instead of applying it directly onto your paper, you want to use it as kind of like a regular watercolor, right? So pick up the colors from the palette and then spread and blend them. So what I'm doing is I'm not adding any more pigments in here. I'm working with all the pigments that I've already applied onto the paper. So I just keep adding water and trying to move some of the pigments from there to here. Now, sometimes it's not the markers. Sometimes it's actually the paper that we're using, you know? So don't think of it as just some, because before when I was getting started and you know I would never often would not get the same result as in the class or how I see it online or in the picture and all that, and I would always used to think to myself that it's the user error and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So I would always get very disappointed and upset, and it's like I'm not doing it right. But again, it's sometimes it's the tools that we're using, it's the materials that we're using that gives us different result. Okay, so just always be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. It's okay.
A
So
question for you, Ray.
yes, dear.
Would this work better on true cotton watercolor paper? Would we use cold press or hot pressed?
Now, the hot press and the cold press, those are just personal preference. Cold press will have a whole lot of textures. So that means you have lots of crevices, you know, in the paper, lots of caves, and that's what I like to call it, some cracks in between. So some would prefer that. I actually love cold press, but what it does is that it basically what it does is that it gives the markers areas to get stuck into. Now, this marker paper pad that I'm using today is from Artist Loft. And I've noticed that sometimes my markers would stain in here, sometimes it won't. Um, so I think it's sometimes the colors as well that I'm having problems with. Now, I don't usually always use my 100% cotton just because they're sometimes very expensive, so I use it for like client work and all that, but for practices I don't really use the 100% cotton just because of that price issue. You know, it can get really expensive, but I think that it would really make a big difference. Now they always say when it comes to watercolors, papers play a very big role, and then of course depends on the watercolor that you're using also. But yes, people will say that it makes a whole lot of difference if you're using 100% cotton. So I'm just drying it, and as I want to show you that stain that I was talking about. And I'm not saying that it is bad. I think it's just different, you know. If you don't like this particular look, then we're going to do what I have said. So this one I have this very smooth. This is a cup holder, a coaster, but it's very smooth. It's like an acrylic finish, and I use it as a palette. So if you have like a small plate, if you don't have an artist palette, a ceramic plate, or just a regular plate, plastic plate, paper plate that has a smoother finish. So as long as the marker is not absorbed, then you can use that. So I am going to grab the dark chrome yellow, and then here's my, I'm just going to apply it here. It's kind of like this. We're going to create our own palette here, right? Just apply it there. And then I'm going to grab my water brush here, like this, just like that. So it's like a watercolor. And I'm going to go in and start blending again. Now I want to start with my lines, very faint lines, but I want to create that crease in between, you know, the pumpkins, those lines. I feel like what's throwing me off right now is the color that I've used. Because I feel like the dark chrome, what is it? The dark chrome that we used to the red, what is it? The Scarlet Red doesn't have a whole lot of contrast. So it's so similar. It's almost so close to one another that I don't have a whole lot of contrast. If I use the yellow in here, which I didn't think I didn't have anymore, I apologize. Um, I feel like if I use the yellow, there's going to be more contrast from the Scarlet Red that I'm using right now. I want to apply it here. Again, remember, these are watercolors. So the underneath layer of that is going to move. It's still going to blend. So it's always going to react to water. No matter you heat set it, you know, we've used the heat gun, it's still going to move with the water. Now, if you have attended or past classes where I used Pitt artist pens, like what Mary was saying earlier, if you feel like you want to do layer on top of layer without affecting your underneath, your under layers, then a Pitt artist pen is really good because once it's dry, once you set it dry, that's going to stay in there. It's not moving. There's no blending it, you know? So it just depends on the project that you're working with, on the artwork that you want and the result that you are hoping for. Again, one of the medium, or is it, I don't think you should call it medium, but yes, another product from Faber-Castell are the gelatos. The gelatos will work the same like the Pitt artists. They're going to be permanent once they're dry. So that means there is no moving it. Once it's dry, it's going to stay in there. Now, again, I feel like the two colors that we use today are so similar that it's not giving me a whole lot of contrast. So I need a third color in here. I need a darker color. So this is where our Indian red is going to be helpful. This is what we're going to use to add more contrast in here. I know, Judith, I love the gelatos. We are going to be using gelatos again very, very soon. We will be working with gelatos. Right. I'm just cleaning my palette and I'm going to add the Indian red in here. Gelatos are like, how can I explain gelatos? We always do this when we do the class. Like, what is a gelato? Here's a gelato. Oops. I have gelatos in here. These are gelatos. So it's kind of like lipstick, right? So same mechanism, you know, you twist it and you then you twist it down to, but it's like creamy, very creamy. It is water based. You can use it like watercolor, like what we did today, but they are going to be waterproof when they're dry. So I love using this when we're doing mixed media. I really highly suggest you checking out some of our previous classes at Michael's YouTube where we played with some gelatos. You are going to fall in love. Now I'm going to heat set it again in between. Right. And then I'm going to grab my water brush and then we're going to add some contrast. Going to add more water like that. I believe we did. Yes, Judith, we did a sunset class using the gelatos, and that was amazing when we blended with using baby wipes. Oh, and it was so easy, so fun. After you're done, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm amazing. And that's what I like. That's what I would my hopes are when we're doing classes like this is that I want you to leave the class feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I can do that, you know? So I don't like to make the class so complicated, where it's like you leave the class feeling like I don't think I've learned anything at all. So I feel like I need more. I gotta add more, and not gonna add too much water this time. And I'm gonna add the lines because I feel like this is what I need to have a little bit of contrast. Now, see what is happening right now. As you can see, that color the colors are feathering in the paper because my paper is still wet. So it's like, so there's blooms, people call it blooms as well, where it's spreading. So you're going to hear the term wet on wet, where you're using a wet paint on a wet paper, right? So there's many different terms, but what's happening right now is that my paper is still very wet. So when I'm applying this paint, my wet brush, it does not give me a sharp line. And that's what I was hoping for. That's why I didn't heat set it for very long because I don't want to have sharp lines, but I just wanted to add colors in here, right? So if my paper is completely dry and I do this, it's not going to feather on so much. It's going to give me like one sharp line like this. I'm going to try it in the dry paper. That it's what's going to look like. But since my paper is wet and I'm using a wet paint, look at that result. Look at the effect. It just blooms. It blends in. It gets absorbed so fast that it feathers around. And that is the look that I'm looking for. And I'm actually going to clean up some of the sharp lines in there again. Remember, in watercolor, your eraser is water. Okay. So if there's any part right there that you do not want, all you got to do is pick it up with water. If you have excess waters in there, you can pick it up, use a baby wipes, a paper towel, and all that, and just clean up like this. Now, I want to add a bit more dark. So I'm going to use this one is dark sepia or sepia. How do you actually pronounce that? Because I heard many different sepia, dark brown. So this time I'm going to concentrate on the very bottom, right? So just add water in here like this, and just the bottom, just like that. Like that. Now, when we add our lettering in here, I want the page to be completely dry, just like that. See, sometimes you feel like you've done your first layer and you feel like, oh, that's not good enough. Don't stop right there. I mean, you know, add more colors, especially watercolors. Watercolor is so forgiving. Yet at the same time, it can be a little tricky because to me, the first things that were always confusing me about watercolors is just how much water am I going to add? Or, um, how much paint do I pick up? Um, and I think the answer to that, honestly, is experience. The more you just play around, tinker with it, practice with it, I think you're going to somehow get a grasp of how much water do you need, how much more paint do I need to add, how much more colors do I need to take out. It's just the more you do it, it really just keep playing with your tools because if they're going to sit on your in your craft room in your office, you're never going to learn. So play around, make mistakes, have fun. I'm just going to add a little bit of here just to kind of give that visual that, hey, I have a line there. I'm just dabbing. Look how light I'm like putting in because I don't want to sharp lines, but I still want to add darkness there in this fold or the crease area, just like that. And again, my paper is still very wet, so it just blooms, right? And absorbs and it feathers, just like that. Good with that. Oh, of course, Judith. That's the reason why I'm here. And I think what really does help a lot is because knowing that I did not know how to draw. And I didn't know how to draw before. It was like 10 years ago. I couldn't even make a good looking heart. Not the real heart, just the shape of the heart. I'm always having a hard time. I was like, I don't like this heart. It does not look good. But the more you practice, really, it's fun. Okay, so the color I'm using is earth green. I feel like with this color, I don't need a bright green this time. But if you like a bright green, go ahead, use the bright green. But I think with the colors that I used in here, I feel like the earth green is much, much better. It's almost like a muted sage color. So I'm just adding it there. Oh, I am running out of supplies, guys. I don't have a whole lot of earth green either. It's okay. We're just gonna do the best we can with what we have. Time to go shopping. Right, like that. Maybe we can add a little bit of that yellow tone to it or that dark chrome yellow. We'll see. The green and the yellow. And this is what I love about watercolors is that you can mix in colors and that you like blending colors in there, just dropping in colors. It's like, look at this. And later when they dry, it's going to look so good. And you feel like you're just playing around. There's something magical about when two colors are blended, or the water, how it moves around on the paper. Really, that's just so much fun. To me, it's so much fun. As fun as the result. The process is just as important as your result, as the final outcome. I'm just going to color in my leaves as well, like that. I know they're like little dim sums. I love them. They're so cute. Yes, we are definitely going to do some lettering. So I'm going to dry this one now. All right. So when it comes to lettering, there are more than two, but the very two important things to remember, especially when you're doing brush lettering, is that brush lettering is actually trying to mimic the look of the old calligraphy. Remember the old calligraphy when they used to use the nibs, the golden nibs, sometimes they're gold, silver, copper. Um, but it does have that thick and then the thin line, the thin strokes. And so the way you would try to create the thin and thick strokes is the brush pen itself is not going to do it by itself. That was my very first mistake when I first started to learn calligraphy or brush lettering, is that I thought if I get the that brush pen that the lady was using in a video, is that my lettering is going to look as beautiful as hers. Boy, was I wrong. It was really wrong. I'm so assuming. What it is that the brush pen, the pen itself, is not going to do it by itself. It's all about the amount of pressure you apply when you are going to write. Now, the two things that are the most important is the downstroke. The downstroke is when you're writing towards yourself. So every time you would like write towards you, write L. So this is your downstroke because I'm writing towards my body. So L, this is my downstroke. What is my upstroke? It's in the word when you go up or when you write away from you. So I'm going to do a little bit of sample in here. So we have Merry Christmas in here. So I'll do this. So again, two strokes important. Downstroke is when you apply pressure, when you write heavy. Okay. Now, upstroke, when you're writing away from you, this is your light pressure. I mean, think as light as a feather. So downstroke, heavy. Upstroke, light, very light. And the same time, when you're doing a downstroke and you're applying a pressure, look at how I'm holding my marker. This is very important right here. You don't hold your pen like this because I will show you what it's going to look like even when I'm applying pressure, right? See the difference of the stroke. This is much thicker. And this is where I would tilt and make sure that my pen is approximately 45-degree angle from the paper. So it's not like this, it's not pointing upside down. I slant it, make sure that this part of my hand is well relaxed in here. And then my pen is around 45-degree angled. And then you apply pressure for your downstroke. Okay. Now, when you're doing upstroke, and this is when you would apply very light pressure, you would use the tip of your brush. So upstroke light, downstroke heavy. Let's do that again. Look at that. Light, heavy, thin, thick. Upstroke light, downstroke heavy. So those are the things that you need to continue over and over, say it over and over. Heavy, downstroke heavy, light, upstroke light, downstroke heavy, upstroke light, so, but what you're going to do is when you're practicing, what it does is that you're building muscle memory. And when you have muscle memory, then you have to, you can stop already because your hand and your brain are coordinated. It knows it already. Ooh, I'm going light. I'm going upstroke, so I'm going to go light pressure. Oh, I'm going downstroke. Now I need to go apply some pressure. All right. So always be grateful. I can still see my sketch here a little bit. Just gonna like that. Light, heavy, right? And notice how I'm doing my lettering. I am not doing it. I am not doing it as one word. I'm doing it one stroke at a time. So now I'm going to do this part of the letter W. I pause in there and do my upstroke. Okay. Don't be afraid to lift your pen off your paper. We're not doing a regular handwriting where we're just, this is my handwriting. No, you're doing it one stroke at a time. Lift, go down again. It almost like it's breathing. You're breathing, you're letting your pen breathe. Stroke again. One stroke again, and then breathe, right? So what you're doing is you're pausing in between, and it's like you're allowing it to also to kind of like calibrate your mind and say, okay, heavy again, light again, heavy again, light again. right? So I'm going to go my letter A. So even my letter A, I stop there. And then I add this part, my letter A. And I'm going to go to Y, right? If you have to pause in there, pause. And then light. And then heavy again. And then pause again. Now, now we can make some adjustments in here. I feel like I should bring that down a little bit. But that's it. So we have always. And then I'm going to do my grateful in here. That. Upstroke. Now, next, not next month, January, we're going to have a lot of, I think we're going to do like a review of brush lettering. So make sure to watch out for that one on the website, Michael's website. But we have like a replay, a catch up on our brush lettering. We're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts. So we're going to add the word be in here. Because even myself, even if I have been doing this for a very long time now, I really allow myself to kind of practice the drills again, the thin and thick lines and all that. What can I do? What can I improve on? You know, what do I feel like is lacking? Um, I don't like the word lacking, but I feel like what is it that I can improve on when it comes to my lettering? Is it my spacing? Is it, the height and the width of my letters? Because there's always something that you can always improve on. Always, as long as you're not competing with anybody else, but just yourself, the person that you were yesterday. um, and just allow yourself to honestly, that's the whole key, is allow yourself to make mistakes, because that's the only way you're going to learn, is that you learn the lesson from that. Oh, you know what, I feel like with this one, what did I learn from this class today? I've learned that, okay, my colors, I can do much better when it comes to my colors. Next time I would probably work slower instead of trying to apply all the pigments at once. I'll probably work in portion, but sometimes it's what makes it difficult is that when we're doing a class, you feel like you're always running out of time. So you want to move a little faster. But in real life, is that if I'm doing this by myself, I know that, okay, we need to work a little faster, need to work in portions so that I feel like I could blend much better. But you always have something to learn in any project that you're working on. There's always something to improve on. Or if you feel like you're a master already, then just enjoy the process. Right? Okay, so we're almost done. And I feel like I'm really happy um, with what we have accomplished and learned today. That was a whole lot. We have actually went through a whole lot. Went through blending, we went through application. We had so much fun. We did a little bit of lettering. So I hope you guys had a wonderful time this evening. It was such a great pleasure being your teacher. So I hope it was helpful. I hope that it was inspiring. And as always, we thank you for being here and joining us this evening. Stay creative and stay happy. Until next time, guys. See you again soon. Bye bye.